Hi everyone, welcome back to Salt and Burn This, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Sammy.
I'm Valerie.
Welcome back. Dreary day here in New York.
Oh, it's
Very.
actually a nice day here, but the
Oh,
pollen is
mm,
insane. They call it the pollening for a reason, and
mm-hmm.
so it's breezy out, but instead of it being like a nice gentle cool spring breeze, it's like like
Yeah,
literally
blowing allergies into your face.
like you can see it. You can see it.
So you really can.
Yeah.
It's orange.
Yeah, and green.
Yeah.
So, oh man.
It's cold and rainy here. I
Boy.
wish I get teased with a couple of nice days here and there. I'm
Yep.
like, can I put the winter coat away for good? No.
Nope.
Nope.
One more day. One more day. So winter's
More
really
like one
holding
more
on.
month.
Oh,
It's always this way here. It's like one of the worst things about New York is the
the
never-ending
winter into
winter.
spring. Yeah. Everyone's like, it wasn't this bad last winter. Yeah, it
It's like, yes,
was.
it was.
It was. Yes,
It's a
it was.
short-term memory when it comes to the
I think you
season.
have to though. I think
Yeah,
you have to block that out. Otherwise, why do you
yes.
keep doing it?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so there were a couple of things that I wanted to call out from the last episode.
Oh, the kids are all right.
Yes. And I can't quite remember. I know what one was, and I can't remember what the other one was. But
I had a memory lapse too, so I want to call out something too. So you go first.
okay, so I was actually rewinding because you had mentioned, and I honestly can't remember if I kept this in the edit or not, but you had mentioned that all of the moms were wearing purple. And so I just went back to go see, really? Were they?
Hmm.
Um, Not exactly. That's not the thing I want to call out, but
Oh, thanks,
they,
Sammy.
yeah.
Just wanted to point out you were wrong.
They were all wearing purple at some point. But Lisa was wearing like a seafoam green for her couple of first outfits, and there's like those random moms that you just kind of come across. They're
Yeah.
wearing whatever. Katie's mom in shades of purple the whole time. But in re-watching those little scenes, when I was watching the one where Sam, as the insurance agent, was interviewing that one-off mom, with the ladder, and we were like, why the hell is the
Yeah.
ladder there?
Yes. Yes.
The window was boarded up. So I think the ladder was there for somebody to board up the
Board up
broken
the window.
window.
Uh,
So that's why the ladder was
good
there.
call. Good call. Yeah, I
A
couldn't
very
figure that
minor
out
thing,
though.
but I think we were just so like adamant about like, why the hell was there a ladder?
But it stopped us both in our tracks.
Yeah.
So, yes, good point. But see, now my next question is, why didn't they just fucking take the ladder out and just show us the boarded up window?
Probably why you said it's like, oh, it made a nice little line,
Nice little
interesting
line.
scene.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Okay.
so that was the main thing, and I can't remember what the other one was. So
Okay.
now your turn.
I All right, so two things. One was I wanted to point out the beautiful music that was played when Dean first drove into the new into Lisa's neighborhood for the first time, like he's like on his way to go,
Mm-hmm.
relive his one night stand or his one weekend stand. And it was like the longest period of no dialogue with this most amazing like soft porn organ music playing. And I was like, yeah. I was like, why didn't we stop and just savor that sequence? Because it was great music and it was
Mm-hmm.
just so very Dean. And I just loved it. It was so it wasn't supernatural music. It was, just this cool jazzy
Yeah.
organ and it just played into Dean's like weekend mood. So
Yeah.
I was like, that stood out to me. I loved that. And then the other thing that I may have touched on, but only like in a glancing blow, towards the end of the episode where they're in the construction house before they've found the children in the basement
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing their little X-Files flashlight moments
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, which again, an extended sequence of flashlights.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
somebody was having a really good time with lighting effects and angles and shadows and stuff. And there's this one cut where Sam is walking up the stairs. He's going up while Sam is walking downstairs, and there's this beautiful light shining in the window. But the way Jared is standing, the light is literally shining between his legs.
Oh.
I just was like, hey.
A little crotch spot light.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So those
Very
you
nice.
know, the little fun things to point
Yes.
out. I mean, there's so many tidbits in that episode, but not worth like pumping the brakes. But
Right.
I'm glad we went back. I want you to remember that other thing though, because now my curiosity is piqued. Okay, it's gonna wake me up tonight.
Season 3, Episode 3, Bad Day at Black Rock. It's Sam's lucky day when he touches a rabbit's foot. Everything from scratching lottery tickets to fighting bad guys goes right. Then Sam loses the foot and everything goes wrong. Maybe dead wrong. Written by Ben Udland and directed by Robert Singer. These little DVD descriptors are turning more and more into like goosebump things. Yes.
Yes.
I know you didn't read Goosebumps, but like the synopsis thing at the back of the book or whatever, or I think maybe it was always like a little one-liner on the front cover. It was always so cheeseball, just like that. So,
all right. So, Bad Day at Black Rock is a 1955 Spencer Tracy movie, which I thought, ooh, it's going to have a great tie-in. You know what? It doesn't. It's just there's this town that has a secret to keep, and they keep the secret by killing people who ever like poke their nose in it. I'm like, it has nothing to do. Nothing
you're
to do.
You're like
episode.
0 for 10 with this. Like whenever you find a title, like you equate the episode title with something else. Like, oh, it's a song, or it's a movie, or it's a book, and it never has anything to do with.
But then again, Bad Day at Black Rock has nothing to do with this episode. I mean, the title itself, they're not at Black Rock.
Yes, they are.
It is a bad day.
They are at Black Rock.
Black Rock. Ugh.
They are at Black Rock.
Okay.
Which I didn't catch until my second watch through.
Okay.
Because I thought that
was
they
there
were
a Chiron?
at...
I didn't.
No, there was no Chiron. It's in the dialogue
Buffalo
somewhere.
Okay, because they're like Buffalo, New York, or outside Buffalo, and then Queens.
They were definitely in Queens.
But I loved this episode, and I wanted to point out that Ben Edlund, he wrote it, right? He also wrote an episode of Angel, which I loved, and it was called Smile Time, and it was the episode where Angel's turned into a puppet.
Oh my god, yes.
So I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch this episode.
Oh my god. That was like the most ridiculous
right?
Angel episode ever.
Can you imagine the launch, like to sit around the table and him be like, okay, I have this idea. Yeah. Angel's cursed and he's turned into a puppet. And also this episode gave me little flashbacks to my X-Files days. There's an episode called the Goldberg variation, where there's a character who Mulder seems to think has supernatural abilities, like paranormal supernatural abilities, but it turns out maybe this guy is just the luckiest man in the world. Like he falls out of a window and doesn't die, stuff like that. So it just kind of threw me back. But anyway, so I loved Ben Edlund as a writer. I don't did he do other episodes previously?
Maybe he might have. I can go look if. Yeah, Ben Udland is known in their team, like the SPN team, as like the comedy guy. Like
yes!
He's the go-to guy when they want like
to lighten things up.
Silliness, yes.
Because boy, did he write to their strengths.
So in season 2, he wrote Simon Said.
Oh, okay. So it did have some fun moments in that.
Yeah, with Stoner Andy.
Yeah.
Night Shifter, which was the night that wasn't quite so silly because that had
Right.
oh my god, what's his name?
Ronald.
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 So I guess maybe
But
that's where the Mandroid
Mandroid, yeah.
came up from.
Yeah.
And Hollywood Babylon.
Oh, which was hysterical watching Dean morph into the role of a
Yes.
PA.
Yes. But
Taquito?
here I think is where he really got to shine.
Yes. So do you want me to I did a glossing of the guest stars in this
Go for it.
episode. Okay. So the biggest guest star is Lauren Cohen, and she plays
Yes.
Bella in
Yes.
this. And for those of you who don't know, she was Maggie on The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And killer characters in both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Killer in both. So she was awesome. Michael Massey plays the guy Kubrick, who's kind of the Jesus freak hunter guy. He was in the Spider-Man movies and a couple of the Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
He's also you'll recognize him from like CSI, Law and Order. He's always like the creepy guy. He's like just the edge of creepy, you know,
It's
like you
his
don't want to mess
voice.
with him.
It's something about his voice, because I recognized his voice before anything else. And especially in Spider-Man, he really plays up his I don't even know what to call it. His timbre, his raspiness. I don't know.
He's done a lot of voice work as well.
Yeah. But in Spider-Man, he's like in a shadow, like his face is. And I was like, oh my god, that's the supernatural guy.
Right? So
I knew it
loved
instantly.
him because he was perfect in this. I was like, I hate characters like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, the other standout character was Rocker Matthews, who plays Grossman. And Grossman is the bald guy.
Yeah.
I recognized him from Psych, but also X-Files. He also was on a number of episodes of the X-Files. Okay. So he's one of those characters that just kind of stood out. His face, you know, I was like, I know this guy, so I had to look him up. And I thought he did a good job as the survivor of the Rabbit's Foot.
Yeah, I think so too. The only person I recognized really, well, that's not true. I recognized Michael's voice and Lauren Cohen just because of Walking Dead. But no, I think she's an amazing actor.
And I kind of liked the character. I mean, I kind of hated the character, but not so much, not because of the acting of the character.
Right.
But, you know, the nemesis is like, oh, I don't like you because you are a nemesis.
Yes. And she came about because the producers, like the network producers, was like, you need to introduce 2 female regulars. Because you have 2 guys, you need 2 girls. You got to do it. And they had already had plans for Ruby, who is the demon chick. She was always going to come into play. And then they, you know, had to come up with this other plan for Lauren Cohen, who is Bella.
Right.
She was a network request because they're like, we're tired of seeing these dudes. I don't know if those were those words, but I imagine it was.
Can you imagine getting
you have to appeal to,
right. Less dudes.
Yes.
So the then and now recap. They're still doing the recap. So yay. But this one was kind of for me. I was like,
it's like the same one that's been like the past 3.
Except this time they focused on Gordon Walker.
Yeah.
So Gordon's in this, you know, even if it's just
that was the other thing.
You lied to me.
But we didn't record it. It was after we ended the recording, and you were like, is it Gordon? And I said, nope.
And the first thing that comes up in the recap was Gordon. I was like,
Gordon.
Hey, it is Gordon. But it's kind of not.
Barely,
I mean, it is, but it's not.
It's barely
exactly.
Gordon.
I was willing to give that over. I was like, all right. So the recap is Gordon and the blonde demon with the message of she can help save Dean.
And then now we're in a penitentiary. We see this guy come up to a phone. he's visiting old Gordon. His name is Kubrick. He reveals he looked up all the things that Gordon told him about. Oh, you were right about the Devil's Gate. It was in Wyoming, but I don't know if you're right about Sam Winchester because Bobby Singer said they were there to stop it.
Right.
Gordon is so intent on that he doesn't believe. He's like, no, Bobby's lost his marbles. He's not as sharp as he used to be. I know that Sam is evil. He may not even be human. He has to die.
Sam Winchester must die. I mean, Gordon basically says, you need to go look into this. It's like, you don't believe me right now? Go look for yourself. Yeah. Go find him and find out for yourself. So next thing, Sam and Dean are in the car. They're in the Impala driving. And as it turns out, Sam did tell Dean.
Yes. The opening scene of The Boys is after we're like, oh, he may not tell him. Is like, that's the first thing. It's like, what do you mean this hot chick, this demon Ruby chick?
Yeah, and now she's been named.
Yes.
Dean like off the cup, Ruby. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, it's Ruby. Now everybody knows it's Ruby.
Yes. Which I feel like maybe it was a slip maybe in the past episode that they forgot to mention her name. Because she probably, when she was writing her phone number down in Sam's hand, it probably said Ruby.
My name is Ruby. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was very diligent in last episode, like listen for the name. I didn't hear it. So Sam told Dean some of it. He told Dean that she is a demon and she's there to probably help Dean get out of his deal, but also to help fight the demon war that is now laid upon them.
Right.
Doesn't tell Dean about Mom's friends because then that would reveal the whole thing about Sam himself, being super involved in the demon plan with the blood and the yellow eyes and all of that. Right. So
he says, he's like, I'm not trusting her, I'm using her. That's the truth, but not all of the truth. And I love that Dean walks away from this with like, are you feeling okay? Still checking in on Sam because dark side could be right there. He did show a part of it.
It's true. Maybe Sam getting annoyed with it though. He's just like, stop. Asking me that.
Yes. And luckily, like a phone starts ringing and it's one of those, well, it's not mine. It's not mine. Oh, it's Dad's. So Sam answers the phone and he's like, yeah, this is Edgar Casey, one of Dad's aliases.
Edgar Casey holds a storage unit outside of Buffalo and it's been broken into.
And shocker, Dad didn't tell Dean and Sam that he had a storage unit.
What?
Oh my gosh, did you know?
Secrets. No. Wow. Who would have thought?
Next thing we see is Kubrick. Kubrick has a partner now in an RV, not a muscle car. So the first set of hunters, not in a muscle car.
I think Kubrick sets himself apart in many different ways. Most notably, this one with the RV.
Yes. I just want to point out Creedy, short for McCready, who is the lead character in Bad Day at Black Rock.
Oh, see, it does have something to do with the movie.
Yeah, they named a character, a side character in this episode for the main character in the movie. You are right. All right. So in this, I love this RV because at first I thought that Kubrick was just kind of like I thought he was funny because he had like a black velvet Jesus in his RV, and Creedy, as he's like looking around the RV, like pulls down this like 3-dimensional Jesus face that like the eyes follow you no matter which way you turn it. And Kubrick's like, don't play with my Jesus or don't touch my Jesus or something. I was like, oh, he's kitschy. He likes his little kitschies. But as we've learned down the line, I'm like, oh,
no,
this
is another way that he sets himself apart from other hunters. Is he a bit of a Jesus freak? This guy,
little bit.
But in this scene, Kubrick is trying to recruit Creedy on this Sam mission. Creedy's kind of like, I don't know, these Winchesters, I don't think it's going to check out. Kubrick said, nope, Gordon says so. And I trust Gordon because he's
saved my life before or something, or he's had my back before, which is odd for Gordon because he doesn't do well with partners.
No.
You know. So now back at the storage unit, and it's like there's a devil's trap on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Demons keep out. There's like bloody footprints. There's a tripwire leading to a gun. You know,
that was stashed inside of a warthog skull or something like that.
I was like boar's tusks. I'm like, what is this?
That is like a very specific trap, but I loved it.
But so did the boys. They're like, this is so dad.
Oh, dad. Yeah.
Yeah. But as they, they carefully step over the tripwire, which clearly had been tripped by somebody because there's bloody footprints on the floor. So somebody got shot.
Mm-hmm.
They find like Sam's old soccer trophy, and then Dean's like, oh my gosh, look, my first sawed-off shotgun. Yeah. So dear old dad is definitely sentimental, but about two very different traits in his sons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was just like the difference in the childhood of these guys.
Soccer,
shotgun.
Yep. And Dean is still poking at Sam about like being a girl. He's like, the only way we knew you were a boy is that you had the soccer trophy or something.
Oh, I didn't get that at all. I thought it was like, oh, that was like the only time, like one of the only times you got to actually be a kid, like get to play soccer before like you got like dragged around into the ghost world.
Oh, I saw it as a dig because he very specifically says boy, and I didn't mean like not like a bad dig, but just one of those Dean digs, about because he's always calling him a girl. You're the redheaded girl. You're all, So I just thought this was another instance of him calling. Oh wow, Sam a girl.
I totally read it as this was like an actual childhood memory time.
You went sentimental and I went sarcastic.
Yeah.
Either way, Dad was proud of his boys for their individual moments.
Did you take a look through all of the stuff that was in the unit?
I tried, but it was hard for me to see.
It was really dark.
Imagine very that. Dark.
But I was reading in like some of the research things that there's a lot of Easter eggs in this episode, and in this one, it's the most unobvious Easter egg ever. But in the unit somewhere, and I tried to find it, it's very, very hard to spot. They took something that was in the roadhouse and they put it in there. And I think this must have just been like a writer's inside joke type of thing. Because I went back and I looked at one of the episodes with the roadhouse. And on the bar, there was this little, about, 1.5 foot tall-ish statues of a monkey. That was like
bartending.
It
was always on the bar. It was always next to
like the taps.
Yes,
but like the beer taps.
The poles.
Apparently that was in the unit somewhere, and I looked. I rewound that scene like 4 or 5 times. The only thing that I could think maybe was right at the first scene where they open up the gate and they see like the flashlight choreography is going around, and it's right before they focus in on the devil's trap on the floor. There's something in the very, very top shelf that kind of looks like it could be a monkey statue, but it's not as colorful as it is in the road, because he's wearing like a yellow vest or something.
Jumper, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's no color on it, but it vaguely resembles a monkey shape, so maybe it's been covered in dust.
There's a lot of dust in that.
Yeah. So
I
don't know. And this was like their little joke of like, oh, it's fun to think that Dad might still be alive somewhere, and he's like took them
in the monkey.
Took them. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was supposed to be burned. Maybe it was supposed to be burned because the roadhouse burned down.
Oh, that Dad went back and got it.
Yeah,
and put it in
Ghost
there.
Dad. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, all right, writers.
Wow, you accuse me of some far-reaching.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have to go back and look again because I did look for stuff. I was like, there's got to be something in here
Yeah.
that's, a picture of Jensen in high school or something. And
Yeah.
there was,
Yeah. No, there's
I
not. Just a
didn't
bunch
see
of
it.
junk. But there is like a unit within the unit, like another locked up
Another
area.
caged off area. Yeah. And it's the weapons unit.
Yeah.
It's like the weapons. And not
Yeah.
only like guns and shotguns, but like a landmine.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Why does Dad have a landmine?
Stuff to make bombs. But the point being that all of it was still there. In fact, the only thing that they could find missing was one of the curse boxes that lay on the opposite side of the room, where there's just a wall filled with curse boxes.
They kind of look like tackle boxes with like spiritual writings on them and stuff, just insignias and one very obviously missing.
Yes.
With the one clean spot on the shelf. They deduce it's a cursed box and a cursed object that Dad's been collecting and just like putting away, taking out of circulation. But what was in this one box, we don't know, but we have to find out.
Yes.
Cut to two guys in a dingy but large apartment. One of them nursing a gunshot wound and still bleeding profusely. The other guy like obsessing over the box they've now the box they stole out of the storage unit. Should we open it? Should we open it? No, don't open it. It's not worth me getting shot. Whatever money we were going to get for this sucks. Should we open it? No. Okay, he opens it.
Yes, his logic is, listen, this is obviously valuable, so we could either give it to this chick and get her money, or we can just sell it ourselves and probably get a bigger profit.
Right. And they're like, what's in the box? So it's like, as the guy like jimmies open the lock, there's like the scary music of dun 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 dun. They open the box and it's like music stops. But he like pulls this thing out. He's like, what the hell is this? It's like this crappy, like gnarly rabbit's foot. He's like, what the hell? I got shot for that.
Yeah.
And so now there's like banging at their door. And I thought it was like the landlord or something, but a neighbor has come to the door and he's like, dude, it's 6:30 in the morning. What's with all the yelling? You guys got to keep it down. Oh, what's going on? And when the guy's is like, I got shot, that's what's going on. And so the neighbor's like, oh, well, run downstairs. I have a medic's kit under my sink. I can patch you up because I was a medic in the Army. He's like, this is your lucky day. And I was thinking, it's not really his lucky day because he just got shot. But lucky day that he's a medic.
Yes, and didn't ask any questions of why did you get shot?
Right, exactly.
What happened here?
You guys are drinking at 6:30 in the morning and yelling. Yeah.
And while he's being fixed up, cue the boys driving up to the car that they note, this is the plate we saw in the security camera. These thieves are dumb because they didn't
cover up their license plate when they broke into the storage unit. Says the boys driving a black 67 Chevy Impala everywhere they go.
Yep.
But they did change the plates in this season, so I'll give them that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, the guy's been patched up and now they're just playing cards. And the guy who's been shot, who I never get his name, so I just call Wayne. Okay, I just keep calling him the shot guy. So Wayne, who's been shot, now keeps winning at poker. Yes. He's like
hand after hand after hand. He's just winning, and this is kind of when he's like, he even says like, I cannot lose. I haven't lost in like how many games? Like, I cannot. Like, he's catching on.
He's figured it out.
Simple little thief.
And then just then, Dean and Sam like burst into the apartment with freeze, hold, stop.
Guns blazing.
Guns blazing.
What happens next after the boys discover that they did in fact open up the box and realize
what's in the box?
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry.
But they realize it was the rabbit's foot. And then they start to fight, but it's the most, dare I say, slapstick fight.
Ridiculous fight. And
it's even like got that like bouncy little music, like
yep.
Screwball comedy-ish kind of.
Yeah, all that was missing was like cartoon sound effects, like boing,
yes,
that's all that was missing. Because even the looks on their faces was like, what's going on? As they're getting, punched in the face from nowhere, or they trip over something, they're just like, what's happening to us? Why are we unable to fight? Yes. So like Wayne knocks Dean's gun out of his hand, and as Dean's gun goes flying, it hits the ground, it shoots the radiator, then ricochets and hits Sam's gun. Sam's gun goes flying out of his hand. A lamp gets knocked over, and then it's just Sam accidentally knocks into Dean. Dean falls into a coffee table, and I love this. You hear Sam go, "Ooh, sorry."
Yeah, sorry. They just turn into like the clumsy twins, because Sam's knocking into him. Dean, when he gets up from the coffee table, is right when Wayne like lifts his arm up to point the gun, but ends up like uppercutting Dean by like accident, knocking Dean almost completely out. And Grossman is on top of Sam, choking him out. Sam is losing this fight to this little guy after fighting off 2 or 3 FBI agents by himself.
Yep. And he looks surprised by it too.
Yes,
he's like, what's going on? But he's able to like reach out because the rabbit's foot has been knocked off the table that Dean, crashed through. Sam's able to reach out and grab the rabbit's foot. And the second he does, there's this like little whoosh of something, whoosh of magic. And suddenly he's able to knock Grossman off of him.
Epically. It was like he does this thing with his arms, or he like
throws him across the room almost. Like,
it's like a Superman move, like where Superman like thrusts open his shirt, but he like thrusts off Grossman and then like into the wall, like on the opposite side of the room. Pretty amazing.
And then Wayne stands up to like shoot, and then trips over a broken picture frame or something and knocks himself out. I mean, yes. So after now the other two,
he tries to shoot Sam with Dean's gun. Gets jammed,
and then he just somehow knocks himself out. Yep. And of course, at the end of this fight, the dust kind of settles after this fight. So Dean's on his feet, Sam's on his feet, Grossman and Wayne are knocked out cold.
Yeah.
And Dean's like, "Is that a rabbit's foot?" Yeah. Okay. So, which I want to say, as a kid, but rabbit's feet were a thing. You could win them in gumball machines. You could win them at, arcades and stuff like that.
They were sold at like gas stations, at convenience stores.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and I didn't think anything of it until I was slightly older.
Yeah,
until I was slightly older, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
We're cutting feet off of rabbits and dyeing them like bright pink and bright white, and and they were supposed to be lucky until someone, opened my eyes to, well, not
finally
lucky
it was
for the rabbit.
Like, hey.
Shouldn't be doing this.
And I didn't even think about it either. So
Sam and Dean go to a diner or a convenience store or something.
Yeah, they're in the parking lot of a convenience store, because Dean instantly caught on. He was like, and brings to Sam a stack of scratchers.
Smart.
Like, here, let's test this out. Very smart. Sam is pouring through Dad's journal to see what's going on. Nothing. But Dean's way to test this out is through a scratcher, in which Sam instantly wins $1,200 on his first one.
Sweet. Sweet. So Dean's like, this is it.
Yeah, here's another one.
There's another one. So back at the apartment, Wayne wakes up from being knocked out and, slowly makes his way into the kitchen to splash water on his face. He keeps calling out Grossman's name. He's like, Grossman, come on, wake up. We gotta, we gotta get going. I just want to point out that as Wayne staggers into the kitchen to get a drink of water and stuff, the Starburst clock has made an appearance. It's on the wall in the kitchen.
That was another one. It made an appearance last episode too. It was in the diner where Ruby came up upon Sam and ate all of his French fries. Really? It was behind.
Really? Because the only thing that caught my eye in that scene was like the Santa Claus character who we first see outside the diner,
Oh.
and then he's sitting behind Sam because he was like this. He had the white hair, the white beard. I was like, hey, look, it's Santa.
Yeah.
You know, the same extra used in different scenes throughout the episode. I was like, he's quite remarkable. You might want to,
Yes.
switch out your extras. So I did not catch the starburst. I'm a little disappointed in myself.
It was there.
So Wayne clears out the dishes from the sink because he wants to splash water on his face and get a drink of water. Very stupidly, in the supernatural realm of things, takes a barbecue fork out of the sink and sticks it in the sink, the dish drainer. Turns around to go be like, Grossman, come on, let's go. Slips on a beer bottle and impales himself through the head, out the mouth with this barbecue fork, which is truly horrific. Because he's also going.
He didn't instantaneously die. This is a slow, torturous death.
And he's like gagging from the back on this barbecue fork, which oddly enough kind of looks like a serpent's tongue, the way it's sticking out of his mouth. You know, and poor Grossman, this is what wakes Grossman up.
Yeah. Is
the sound of him like impaling himself on this fork.
Yes. This is I think what I'm gonna now call the Kripke Gamble special, because now we've had in each episode like a spotlight gory moment. We had the drain cleaner death. We had the what was the last one that we made? It
was just the kids. It wasn't really gross or gory. I mean, the little kid when we see her in the mirror.
It was the dad right in the beginning getting table sawed through the back.
Right. It's starting. This is starting to be a thing. Yeah.
And now we have the 2-prong carving fork through the neck and out the mouth.
And the guy's still alive. Yeah. But what cracked me up is like that's the moment that Grossman decides to wake up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And he walks into the kitchen and sees Wayne and he does like ah!
Yeah.
All right. So Wayne's out of the picture. Next thing we see, Dean is still counting scratch tickets. Yes. Like he is just going to town with the scratch tickets. In the meantime, Sam is talking to Bobby. Like Sam's actually trying to figure things out. While Dean's just like, hey, lucky. And Bobby basically tells him that the rabbit's foot is a piece of hoodoo, hoodoo charm, but it's bad luck, essentially. It was created by a hoodoo priestess who was cursing anybody who touched it. Mm-hmm. Like, you would have good luck, insurmountable luck, but the second you lost it, not only does your luck go bad, but you die. Like, so bad, you die. And Sam's like, how do we undo it? And Bobby doesn't know.
No.
And Bobby doesn't know. And the other thing, I actually looked up a little bit about rabbit's feet, because I was like, how is a rabbit's foot lucky? You know? And even in outside of Supernatural Wiki, in Rabbit's Foot Wiki, it's still the luck, like the idea of a lucky rabbit's foot came from like cutting off the foot of a rabbit that was jumping over the grave of somebody who was a criminal. I mean, I was like, how is this lucky? How do you equate this thing into luck? And in nowhere did I find that something good happened in order to be like, I'm going to keep this as a lucky charm.
Yeah.
That there's nothing. It's all about graveyards, cemeteries, full moons, Friday the 13th, evil. Yeah. I mean, hands being removed from criminals that were, executed. I'm like, I don't get, where does good luck come from this? So somebody tell me. Anyone want to write in? Call me. Don't call me.
But it is interesting because in a few minutes in Supernatural, Sam does make a comment. It's like, it's not just any rabbit. It has to be in the graveyard under a full moon and
which
Friday
is
13th. It's true.
It's true.
Essentially. I mean, there are different little, things you could
every
pull
culture
from.
Has its own,
but it is all very specific like that. It's like, you have to kill the rabbit slowly so the blood drains out. And it's like, they didn't really do a lot to, supernaturalize this.
Right?
But while Sam is on the phone with Bobby, I love that they do this 2 or 3 times in this episode where there's background scene, action happening. So Dean, you got Dean
subtle.
with the
scratchers.
counting, like he's counting on his fingers, math. And Sam like bends down, finds like a golden watch just like laying underneath a newspaper
in the parking lot, and he's
to Dean's pleasure. He's like, awesome.
Because Sam is still talking to Bobby when he finds this watch, and he's like, don't tell Bobby, basically. Dean's like, yes, we're still winning. This is great. So they walk into the diner, and they're deciding that they, Dean's all like, we got to go to Vegas. And Sam's like, no, we got to lay low until we can figure out this whole thing. And as soon as they walk into the diner and say, like, 2 for dinner, the guy's like, congratulations, you were the millionth customer, and he pops confetti and he gets the big check out and he hands it to Sam and Dean, like, you guys win free food for a year. And I love that Sam is like, oh, fuck. But Dean's face is like, yeah!
Dean like is the happiest he has ever been in his life. That photo is like Sam being like, with all the confetti in his face. And Dean's just got like pure joy.
He's getting food. They are winning all the things that Sam, like Dean needs. It's like money and food.
Yep.
Throw a stripper at him and he would have been like, what?
I know, he would have died.
Love that.
But it was on the phone scene that they said that they were in Black Rock. By the way.
Okay.
Sam says something, did you know about Dad's storage unit in Black Rock? And Bobby's like, yeah, of course I did.
Okay.
So that is where they are. And I believe it's in Connecticut, just judging from the thieves who had a Connecticut license plate.
Yeah.
And there is a Black Rock, Connecticut, and I assume that is that's the one that they are at.
Good assumption.
Because it's also 2 hours away from Queens, where they go later.
So back in the RV, Kubrick and Creedy are still planning and plotting on how to track down Sam. But they're like, in the meantime, let's go get something to eat. And they're like, where do you want to eat? And Creedy, I loved this scene because Creedy's like, oh, I know this chain that has a really great menu and you can look it up online, and see if you want to see if this menu appeals to you. I love that Creedy is like, do you like this? We can go get food at this restaurant.
Yes, because Kubrick is like, I've got canned everything. Yeah, obviously not someone who likes to leave the RV. And Creedy's like, come on, let's go out. It's all right. We can step out just for a couple minutes. It's okay.
It's okay. I love that he like shows them, he like pulls up the menu online. He's like, look here, see if you like it. And Kubrick's like, oh, I do like those fried onions they just drop into the he was like, he's like, let's go there. They've got the fried onion thing. And then it turns out that they see a picture of Dean and Sam with the big check being the millionth customers. And they're like, what are the chances that the one restaurant we picked is the restaurant where Dean and Sam are?
Well, something happens right before that in order for that to happen, because the boys are sitting at the booth. Dean is shoveling ice cream into his gullet,
brain freeze.
Yes. Sam has confirmed everything that Bobby said. It's like, oh, it's like this specific rabbit. We just gotta not lose it. In walks waitress, who's there to top Sam's coffee off. She spills it. So this waitress is practically falling into Sam's lap, trying to clean it up, making eyes. She's very cute. And as she walks away, both boys lean in to watch her.
Like, ogle her walking away.
And she turns around and makes eyes. She knows that they are watching her walk away.
Yep.
And the minute she goes off frame, Sam spills his coffee all over himself. And then when he gets up, he then knocks out like a huge catering tray full of food out of another waiter's hands and all over himself. Uh-oh.
He's like, how is this good?
Yeah.
Sam pats down his pockets and no rabbit's foot. Rabbit's foot is gone.
Yeah. And they cue to the cute waitress who has wrapped it up in her little cleaning towel, stuffing it in her pocket, tears off her black wig and throws it in the trash and runs off.
He's walking away. Now, I just wanted to say, we all know what happens next. Like, sit back. Let's just watch. Just watch what happens. This is, anyone who's seen this episode knows what happens
Oh,
next. Yeah. And I just, as soon as she threw her wig in the trash, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. And the first thing we see is like Sam and Dean leaving the diner. They start to run after her. Dean's like, come on. Boom! Sam falls off the curb, face plants, tears up his knees, and Dean has to like stop running. He just kind of stops. He's like, oh no, it started.
Yeah.
It started. He turns around and he sees like Sam kind of getting up. Like you said, big tree fall hard, right?
Yes.
And Sam stands up and his knees are just wrecked. And Dean's like, oh, you suck. Not only is she getting away, but now you are just turning into like the biggest klutz. So the next thing we see is, wait for it.
Grossman.
Grossman, thank you, is in the apartment, lamenting the loss of Wayne. He's like giving him a Scotch funeral toast, like pouring alcohol on the floor. He's listening to Vaya con Dios on the radio. And this time Sam and Dean come in, but they don't burst in through the door like they did before. They literally like open the door, walk in real slow, and they're like, dude, we know what's happening. You got to tell us about this chick who took you were going to stole this for her.
Yeah.
She, obviously she hired you. Who is she? Because how do you know about this girl? Oh, because she just stole the rabbit's foot back from us. And Sam can't even take a step into the apartment without tripping over a lamp cord. Not only does he then like fall into the lamp and into the bookshelf behind the couch,
he takes out half the apartment with him on his way down. I rewound this scene just a few times just because I was cackling. It was so funny.
He goes down hard.
Yes.
Goes down hard. And you can see him like struggling to catch himself as he falls.
Yes.
Like, oh God, oh no. Down, crash, smash. And all Dean can do is like roll his eyes, but also be like, dude, you okay? I'm okay.
His reaction was equally as funny because not even a glance back. It was just.
He just must have fallen down so many times on the way to the apartment. And so Dean takes this moment to, try to convince Grossman that he needs to tell them what happened. Like, you're not a bad guy. I can read you. You're just a thief. You're not a killer. But if you don't help us find this item, not only is Sam going to die, but then the next person who's exposed to the rabbit's foot is going to die. I mean, you saw what happened to your buddy. It's pretty gruesome. Let's, you're not a killer. Tell us everything you know.
Yeah, I thought it was like, when he was doing this, like, this is like a very unnecessarily dramatic scene right here.
Right?
Like, this whole, like, Dean getting so intense with, like, you see, I happen to know how to read people.
I was like,
it was a bit much for me. I was like, oh, okay. Later on, I was like, oh, this is why. Did you happen, though, to notice above the doorway in the apartment?
I'm going to say
oh, my God,
no.
Valerie.
No.
Upside down horseshoe.
Stop! Oh, my God, I can't believe I didn't.
I can't believe you missed that either. I can't believe you missed that.
I'm so mad at my eyeballs. I am so mad.
I didn't catch it until my second watch through and in this entrance, but it is like it's like so spotlighted right above Dean, like, because they walk in and the camera's kind of like right there. But it's there the whole time. It's there earlier as well, when they're playing cards and stuff like that. But yeah, upside down horseshoe.
Well, thank you for seeing that. And I'm glad that I tuned you into looking for objects like that.
Would not have seen it had you not mentioned it 2 seasons ago.
Oh gosh, I hate. This is the second time I think you've zinged me on something, and I appreciate it. I absolutely do. I'm not mad about it. I'm mad at myself for missing it because I'm like, son of a bitch. Because I pride myself on noticing things like that. I was all happy that I saw the starburst, but that's so obvious because it was this giant thing that took up half the screen in the kitchen.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you for finding the horseshoe. It justifies my seeing it in the very first season. So
yes.
Boom. Thank you for that. Moving on from my embarrassment. Kubrick and Creedy back at the RV. And this was my biggest aha moment about Kubrick is that he's leaning up against bumper stickers on his RV that are so blatantly Jesus freak.
Yeah.
That, one of them says Bethlehem or bust. Another one says, how would Jesus drive? Which is kind of like a what would Jesus do, I guess. Yeah. But the one I liked the best was, in quotes, don't make me come down there. Signed, God. I'm like, okay, that was actually pretty funny. But
I did like all of his bumper stickers, actually. Yeah. They were very unconventionally Christian.
Yes, exactly. But I was like, okay, we've definitely crawled out of kitsch and into full-blown Jesus freak believes this. Like, this is his mantra. And I was like, oh, Jesus, no pun intended, but oh, Jesus, I hate characters who feel like they are guided by the word of God, that their mission is, God driven.
Can you, though, blame him, considering he was just talking about Sam Winchester and then up pops like a picture of him,
I cannot fault him for that. I do fault the Jesus freak. But so meanwhile, Dean's on the phone with Bobby now. Mm-hmm. And it has told Bobby that Sam had the rabbit's foot, lost the rabbit's foot. And, in the meantime, Bobby's like, son of a bitch, oh my God, you guys, how stupid could you be? What are we going to do with you two? And in the meantime, this is one of those moments that you talked about, something happening in the background that's actually more important than what's happening in the foreground. And it's the moment. It's one of the most classic canon moments in Supernatural, which is Sam has stepped in gum, which is gross in and of itself. And he's like trying to scrape the gum off on a sewer grate or something. And as he's scraping, you hear this flip, splash. Accidentally kicked his shoe off into the drain, and it is gone. It is down and gone. And you see Dean turn around and look at him like, what? And he just says,
my shoe.
I lost my shoe. And so not only does he have bad luck, but he's lost all like Samness. There's no, he's just like a sad sack. That's all I can say.
No, and like how much more puppy dog can you get than that face he gives?
I lost
literally just shoe. A huge pout, just a like a lip quiver. It's one of my favorite scenes of all time.
It's one of it is like I said, I don't think you could interview anybody who's seen Supernatural and have them say, I don't like that moment.
Yeah. But we do need to talk a little bit about the phone call that Dean had with Bobby, because it is, Bobby had called because it's like, good news. Yes. There's a way to fix this. There's a cleansing ritual.
Yep. And
he has a good guess of who stole it. Because she had given an alias of Lugosi. Very smart, because he's like, oh, that's probably Bella Lugosi.
Lugosi. Dracula.
Yes. But her real name is Bella Talbot. She is not a hunter, but she is whip smart about the supernatural world, and you guys are in trouble if it is actually her. Maybe I can find out where she lives. And then at 24 minutes, 54 seconds, we get the first Bobby Idjit.
Yes. Yes. Idjit. My brother used to call us Idjits when we were little.
Really?
All the time. Yep. So when I started watching Supernatural and Bobby was all about Idjit, I was like, yes. My brother used to call us Idjits all the time. So yes. Enter Idjit. And thank you, Bobby.
Yes. So many important things happening in this.
Right?
One 5-minute little bit, yeah.
Brilliant. So Dean decides to drop Sam off at a motel because he's like, dude, I can't have your bad luck get us both killed.
Yeah. Sit in this chair. Do not move. Don't even scratch your nose. I'm going to go to
Was-
Queens because that's where they found out Bella lives.
Yeah. What's the first thing Sam does?
Scratch, scratch, scratch.
Scratch, 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 scratch.
Well,
but again,
I mean,
he's like
honestly,
super...
once someone tells you not to scratch something,
do
that's
it.
the only thing you can think about.
Right. I love this motel. It was nice and clean, very
It
fresh
was.
looking.
Yeah,
Very
it was very
round motif. Like the room divider had these round circles and beautiful flowers and irises and stuff.
It was very reminiscent of the Blue Rose Motel from last season.
Yes,
the one where Ava came and
where Gordon shot at them.
Yeah.
It was very relaxing, and I love that Sam is sitting in a chair in the middle of the hotel room, staring at closed curtains in front of the window, and he's just like sitting there staring at the air conditioner, and he's not moving.
Into Queens we go.
Into Queens and Bella's super swank apartment with was it a bald kitty or a Siamese kitty?
A Siamese kitty.
Siamese.
So she's on the phone arguing with the buyer of the foot, presumably. She's still demanding her $1.5 million. Which eventually he settles on. But while she's on the phone, she does not see Dean sneaking around on her property through her security camera. The cat does, apparently, who gives a warning hiss.
I couldn't tell if that was for Dean or because she also picked up the rabbit's foot with some tongs at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just thought it was kind of cute. It's like instead of a guard dog, she has a guard cat.
She doesn't see Dean, who's able to not only sneak into her apartment, but sneak in and be in there long enough to write a Post-it note.
Yeah.
So he says, turn around or something. So she's like, turns around and Dean is in her apartment pointing a gun at her.
Now we have a meet cute.
So back at the motel with Sam just sitting looking at the AC, all of a sudden the AC starts to knock and ping and smoke and catch fire. Yeah. And Sam's he's like, oh, come on.
This was a beautiful piece of comedic acting from Jared. His just exasperation, his just oh, come on. I
didn't. And so he gets up to go turn off the AC. It catches fire, so he takes the sheet off the bed and he's beating the AC to, get the flames out. He finally gets the flames out and he's like, whew. And then his sleeve catches fire, and it's the same. He lifts up his arm. He's like, come on!
Yeah.
So he grabs the curtains and he's trying to beat the flames out with the curtain. And he ends up knocking himself out. And as he passes out, he tears the curtains off the windows to reveal Kubrick and Creedy on the other side of his motel room window. And they just watched him
yeah.
And of course,
Kubrick gives another knowing glance up to the heavens.
Nod to the god. Yep. I just love that Sam is passed out, tangled in the curtains. Yeah, he's just down. Big tree fall hard.
Yes.
So
Bella and Dean are in a standoff with each other. They both have their guns pointed. And here they do a little back and forth scene. She reveals herself to be basically a supernatural cat burglar. Steals all these items and sells them to
the highest bidder.
A certain set of clientele.
She's a thief, not a hunter. Yeah, so we just see how cunning she is in these scenes and just her banter with Dean. So back at the motel, Sam is now duct taped to a chair and is being interrogated by Kubrick and Creedy. Kubrick says his signature line, "I'm on a mission from God," which is straight out of the Blues Brothers, because the entire movie of the Blues Brothers is premised on them being on a mission from God, which is hysterical. If you ever watched the Blues Brothers, I've
only seen bits and pieces of it, but the fact that they're on a mission from God, that's very funny. But he also name drops Gordon. Sam was like, oh man, that guy, really? And then
he's well, he said I should kill you. He's like, well, that sounds like Gordon.
Yeah.
He's yeah, that sounds like him. But he's wrong. This guy, Gordon is wrong. You know, we tried to stop the we tried to stop the Hell's Gate from opening. Kubrick doesn't believe him and is like beating Sam up. I mean, punching and slapping him. And he's out of line. I'm just going to point that out. He's out of line. He should not be doing this to poor Sam, who admittedly, even Creedy is like, you are just a disaster to yourself. You know, we didn't have to do anything. You knocked yourself out.
Yeah.
And he even mentions
he says like it was like watching Jerry Lewis stack chairs.
And I looked that up.
I did too.
I thought it was going to be this like comedic moment of like stacked chairs, but it's a scene where he actually sets out hundreds of chairs in a ballroom.
Yeah, I tried to find a couple of scenes, and that one that you're speaking of is called like the Bellboy or something, where he sets up a giant room full of chairs in the matter of seconds, and that's like the joke, because he's usually a klutz. And then there was another scene with a chair where he's trying to get a chair for this guy that's completely in like a full body cast, and you know he's just like fiddling with the chair. He's like, "I'm gonna get you a nice chair so you can sit, you can relax in the chair, and you can finally sit." And like in his bumbling, he knocks over the guy in the full body cast, who then like rolls down a hill, crashes into the tree, and there's nobody inside of the cat. It was very Jerry Lewis, but I was like. Siri, I did not say anything to you. Stop.
So Bella, it turns out, has been found this cursed object, at least, through a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Or a Ouija-esque board, I should say. A spirit talking board.
Yeah.
And while she's doing her monologuing, Dean is able to snatched the rabbit's foot unbeknownst to her.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure when he snatched it. Like it could have been before she even turned around after the post-it note. You know, they're just like sitting there talking back and forth. You know, he says, "Hey, my brother's gonna die if I don't get this foot," and she's like, "Oh, that's sad. Well, you can have it for 1.5 million." Like not letting go. And she's like, "No, I don't care about your brother that much. I just met you. You know,
I just want my money." Yeah. But somehow Dean does end up with it. And I was like, no, he touched it, because he full on grabbed it.
Yes.
He full on grabbed it. And he's like, you know, it's my luck now.
Mm-hmm.
And Bella tries to shoot at him. And of course misses, because he's Mr. Lucky now. She tries to shoot again and almost like ends up ricocheting and shooting herself and her cat.
Yeah, it's like two or three times she shoots and breaks all of these artifacts that are in her apartment.
It's a really nice apartment, yeah. And as Dean is like skipping out the door, you hear him go, "See ya!"
Yes. And then these two hunter guys are still torturing Sam. They're not believing him when Sam is just like, "Listen, I can explain. We weren't really there. I don't have these powers anymore." And Kubrick at the end is finally like, "Listen, I just don't think we should take any chances. Gordon wants you dead, so I'm going to shoot you dead." Of course, right on time, enter Dean. Who
and
interrupts his speech.
He's got the look. He's got the Dean happy face on, you know?
He's got a swagger unlike any other time I've seen Dean have a swagger.
It's my lucky day. He just walks in. And he's like, "Watch this." because Kubrick is now turned around and is pointing the gun at Dean. Yeah. So Dean puts down his gun. He's like, "Watch this." He puts down his own gun, picks up a hotel pen, and goes, "Funk," and just flips it. And it just arrows right into the barrel of Kubrick's gun. Just book, cork in a bottle.
Everybody in the room is like, "What?"
You know, and Dean could have taken a bow like, "Ta-da!" You know, basically.
He basically did. He was like, "Oh my God, did you see that? I'm amazing."
You know,
because then Creedy like tries to run after him, and like it's like a I don't know how to describe. Dean just very slightly shifts to the left, you know.
Yep. And Creedy like knocks himself out by running into the wall behind him.
Yep. Dean takes the remote from the table, gives it a nice throw, and hits Kubrick right in the forehead with enough force to knock him out as well. And here is yet another memeable moment of the show at 34 minutes and 42 seconds. I'm Batman.
Yep. the irony, of course, is that Jensen does go on to voice Batman in an animated series, among other things. And of course, Sam, unimpressed, is like, yeah, you're Batman. It wasn't you, it's the fucking rabbit's foot, Gotta love Dean and his zest for childhood, superheroes. Love that.
I know. And this was also like, what a different, like, Dean having the good luck charm is just living it up, living life. Because, a few minutes later, they're in the graveyard ready to do this cleansing ritual. But he's still, before they put the rabbit foot in, he's got his own set of scratchers. It's just like, nope, I'm using this luck up, dang it.
He's like, step away. What does he call him? Jinxie, that's what he calls him. Step away, Jinxie. while he does the scratches.
Right. So like Dean going all for it, like just living it up. While Sam had it, he was very cautious. He was like, I don't know about this, guys.
Let's lay low. Yeah. Yeah. In the meantime, Bella shows up at the cemetery. How she knew they were there, I don't know, but she's smart, so she probably figured out that they were going to destroy it, and this is the only way to destroy it. And Dean tries the whole, I can read people.
Yes, and this is where I was like, oh, okay, they needed a callback moment. He was going to do his little Dean, like, listen, I happen to know how to read people, and you're not a killer. You're not going to shoot. And before he can finish, she shifts the gun over, and she shoots Sam.
Sam, fun. I was like, not cool. In fact, everybody was like, not cool.
Yeah.
Dean's like, what? You weren't supposed to shoot him. I know you can't shoot me, but you weren't supposed to shoot Sam. This wasn't supposed to happen. So the tone has completely shifted from fun, lucky to, holy shit, she may actually
she's crazy.
Sam, to get this thing back. And I just like the look on Dean's face was like, that's not how this is supposed to play out.
It's like, wow, yeah. And she's just like, oh, chill out. It was just a shoulder shot. I know how to aim. The thing is, since I can't shoot you, I can't miss him. So, what's your choice going to be? Why don't you just give me the foot?
Give me the foot.
So he's like, okay, fine, calm down. And he does, slowly makes his way towards the ground, to put it on the ground. And then the last minute says, think fast, and tosses at her. And she, of course, instinctively catches it, because that's what you do when things are thrown at you. And, oh, shucks, now she's cursed.
Son of a bitch. He's like, so now what are you going to do? And she's like, fine. So she tosses it in the fire, and she's like, you just cost me, like, so much money. And she even threatens, like, this is going to come back to bite you, basically.
They don't care. They're just like, please just go. Don't feel bad.
Just go. Yeah. Don't be, what is it? Don't go away mad, just go away.
Yes.
So Bella, speeds off in her muscle car. Kind of a muscle car. It was a sports car, I guess. Yeah, she goes speeding off. And here's a little tidbit I just want to point out, that as she speeds off, Dean is like, well, at least we still have, the scratchers, the $47,000 worth of scratchers that I won. And he like goes and like checking his pockets and doesn't realize that he had his jacket off while they were, burning the thing, and it was draped over his jacket was draped over Tombstone. Bella leaned on the tombstone while she was monologuing with them.
Yep.
She took the tickets and she goes speeding off, and she now has their $47,000. Dean looks at Sam and goes, son of a bitch. Well, that line was improv.
Oh, nice.
It was improv, and you could, if you go back and watch it now, you could totally see Jared laughing. You see him kind of look at Jensen's face right before he says son of a bitch, and he's like, oh, you're gonna do something. Like, you could see it on his face. And as soon as Jensen says son of a bitch, Jared turns his head away from the camera, and you could see him totally like smile, and he's like, nope, can't. So, but they used that take because the son of a bitch was unscripted. But very, very Dean.
Oh, it was
son
perfect.
Of a bitch.
It was very perfect.
So it goes from this lighthearted, son of a bitch moment.
Yeah.
Because obviously Sam's okay. It's just a flesh wound, shoulder wound. We're not concerned that Sam is now bleeding to death.
Right.
So it's kind of a lighthearted walk away moment. until the next scene pops up and we're back at the prison where Gordon is, and Kubrick is now reporting in to Gordon and basically saying, you were right. And he says, what is it? He says something about Jesus.
He does. He was just like, God led me to him, like the higher powers, like
his will is clear.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I did kind of like this. Gordon, like, is like, okay. Like the recognition of like, all right, you're a little nuts, but you know what?
But I'll still
That's
take
fine.
you.
Yes.
Yep. You're on the outside.
As long as you're on team Sam Winchester must die.
Must die.
I don't care how you get there, but
right. Yep.
Great.
Exactly. Exactly. A Jesus freak hunter is better than no hunter.
Yes.
Is basically what I wrote down. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch. You know, because that's how they end the episode. Is
the end of the episode with how they open it is like the conversation in this prison of like Sam Winchester must die, and also we need to get me out of here. So I assume the next time we see Gordon, he will no longer be in this prison.
Right. And it will.
Yes.
So, overall, I loved this episode. Not only, I mean, I love the humor in it, but oh my gosh, just the comic timing, unexpectedly comic timing of Jared Padalecki.
Yeah.
I mean, Dean was cute with his I'm Batman and stuff like that, and just his reactions. But, oh my gosh, Jared falling down over and over again, and just, oh, sorry, and
yes.
You know.
Yes. His faces, his come on, I just... Like the scene in with the air conditioner on fire, I loved it.
Come on, it's like I didn't even touch it. You know, like
I didn't move. I was in the chair the whole time, like I was supposed to be.
He just lost all his cool. You know,
oh my God.
He's like his smarts, his cool, his swag. Sam has swagger too, but
he does. It's a different kind of swagger than Dean, but you know, it's a confident. I'm level-headed.
I'm smart.
Know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, Jared was really not confident with doing this episode because he doesn't think that he's a good comedic actor. Well, he didn't right at this point in filming this. I feel like it's probably different now. Considering all of their conventions that they do with each other, and they're just like riffing off of everything. But
it comes with comfort, you know, and security in your surroundings, and knowing that your acting partner like has your back and isn't going
and the
to,
director,
like,
he felt good with the director. But it was just like I wasn't sure about this. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do a good job, or I thought he was amazing. And it was really, really fun to see Sam as that guy. Because he doesn't get a lot of funny moments. Dean gets a lot of them. You know, he gets a lot of those, like, faces where it's just a, what?
Yep.
You know?
Yep. But it's also, what I also liked is that it gave Sam's character a break from the dark side, the impending dark side that's coming. He didn't have to be the super smart guy either. You know, it wasn't the breaking the case wasn't resting on his shoulders. And it was just nice to see they didn't talk about, Sam and Dean did not once talk about the issues that they're having, you know, and they always end up having to talk about either, you know, in previous seasons, it's dad and the secret of dad, and, you know, and then it was
Sam's
yellow
issues.
eyes.
Yeah, his psychic powers. I mean, it was just
and,
like a blip in the beginning when they're talking about the demon Ruby and the war. Like, we don't even know what this war is about. And then instantly it was this. And you know what? There wasn't even a monster. It wasn't a monster in this episode. It was a curse. It was a rabbit's foot.
Yes. Right? Fuzzy, a little unassuming rabbit's foot. And just the way it was presented in the very beginning with Grossman like opening the box to what you think is like impending doom in the box. And it's like, it's a rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it did its damage, that's for sure. I mean, poor Wayne.
I know.
Wayne got it
It's
good.
not a way that I would like to die. Okay, so there are even more Easter eggs in this episode. Ben, or maybe it was Robert, I think it was Ben. Anytime there was a scene in which the luck was happening, so like whoever had the foot, just Dean throwing the pen and the gun,
Yeah.
He tried to put a rabbit somewhere in the scene. And I found a few of them, but I could not find all of them.
All of
So
them?
the ones that I found, when Wayne first gets it and the neighbor comes in, the guy, the vet, has a patch on his jacket, and it's a rabbit.
Oh my gosh.
The scratcher tickets that Dean first hands Sam is like a magician hat, and there's like rabbits near the hat. And in the restaurant, it was after Bella walks away, when the boys are like staring at her ass when she walks into the kitchen. There's a claw machine in the background, and there's a stuffed bunny sitting on top of it.
Oh my gosh.
And those are the ones that I saw. I could not find anything in Dean's Batman scene, in the one where he's avoiding all of Bella's shots in her apartment. But she's got so many artifacts and stuff. There may have been a rabbit in there somewhere. It was just very hard to tell. Even when I was standing literally right up next to my TV, I couldn't see a rabbit.
Well, see, now I have to go back and watch this all again. You do. For the horseshoe, now for the rabbits. I'm kicking myself, Sammy. I'm absolutely kicking myself.
Well, to be fair, I did not notice all of these on my own. It wasn't like, oh, look, there happens to be rabbits everywhere. I was guided by someone saying, I snuck in some rabbits.
Right. But I usually I can usually find things like, costume pieces that mean something, or the jewelry, or this or that. And I feel like for me, these last few times, while I've been interested and taking notes about the episode, I'm not watching it with the same Valerie
Valerie, you are in the middle of tech right now for a giant monster of a show. It's okay.
I know.
It's okay.
Okay.
And damn it, I can have some every now and then.
I bequeath you the ability to find the little things. This was an awesome episode. It was nice. It was funny. It was well written. It was cute. It still advances the plot of impending danger for the boys.
Yes, it introduces a new character.
And Bella, who is most assuredly going to show up again somewhere.
Yes.
I don't remember where or when, but you can't just have that character drive off and not show up to be a thorn in their side somewhere down the line.
Yes.
The mention of now that Ruby has a name, she's definitely going to be coming back. It was fun. The fight choreography. I wish we had, like one of our fight guys to talk about this, because it was some really fun stuff.
Yeah. This one is one of my favorites, and I know it's not that meaningful, but I think it stands out just because it was just a nice breather of a moment after all of the heaviness that's going on. And we get these, it's such a 180 for Sam. It stands out in that way with him, especially his, I lost my shoe.
All right. What's next?
Okay. Our next episode is Sin City.
So maybe Dean does get to go to Vegas.
Maybe.
Just one episode too late.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us on this one. Please follow us, subscribe to us, rate us anywhere you can follow, subscribe, and rate on podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Salt and Burn This everywhere. Still brings me such joy to just say that one line.
Salt and burn.
It's a small thing, but man, it was annoying to do it every single time.
I never volunteered to do it because I would have messed it up, because I would have been like, I don't know.
I messed it up all the time, if you remember. Thank God for editing.
I'm glad that was never me.
So, thanks all for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.